I am your host, Doc Rodden, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, and Dave Dreher, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. With me this week is my co-host, Jeff Mohr. I almost lost that one, Jeff. Almost lost it.
My name?
Well, no, I had your name. It was just like the words, little teeny words like will and take. Hey, look, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I keep waiting for you to when you do your rapid fire where we review. They kind of sometimes.
You guys are just waiting for me to stumble.
No. I'm doing great. And we have two fine movies. We have two fine movies today.
We do have two fine movies. And I have three fine co-hosts with me, including Jeff, of course. And also joining us this week is Crystal Cleveland, the living dead girl. Crystal, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. This was a good week for movies for us, so this is going to be an exciting one. Plus, Dragon Con is coming up, which I'm very excited about.
I was ready to ask you about that. Yeah, you're heading down there. You're going to be joining your director down there.
Yeah.
He's down there somewhere having fun.
Yeah, it looks like he's having a lot of fun. I'm like, will you post more, please? He's like, you'll be sick of it. And I'm like, no, I won't. I just want to watch. It's all good. But yeah, I'm super excited. Can't wait. And my first time, so I'm sure I'll get schooled.
It's Halloween for 4 days, and you're going to love it. It's a lot, and everybody is happy. Everybody's happy, and a lot of people are lit. So it's fun time.
Good times. Can't wait. Yay.
I hope you're not claustrophobic. That's the only thing that could get you, because it gets pretty tight sometimes.
I'm like, wait, what? No, I'll be fine. I'm totally going to be fine.
Bill promised to clue her in on all the secrets.
Oh, yeah. He sent me, actually, Bill's so wonderful. He sent me like paragraphs and paragraphs of all this stuff, of all this information, but it was all such great information, like travel system, what's at what hotels, this place to eat, which apparently is open 24 hours a day and serves, I think he said, pieces of cake that are as big as his head. Like,
he loves that place.
So
oh my God,
good. Yes. I know. I'm like 24 hours. That sounds like a win. So I mean, yeah, it was really invaluable information. I think if I'd try to do this on my own without so many people offering advice, I'd be man.
There's an Irish pub right in the middle of it all. There's a little sushi joint. It's like all heaven for me. But anyway, that's not why we're here. But we do want to hear about it when you get back. Well, let's introduce our fourth co-host. It is the one and only Dave Dreher, my co-host over at H&R. Dave, woohoo! How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Hoo-hoo. What the hell was that? I'm good, Doc. Hoo-hoo.
Oh, you guys are just killing me tonight. All right, we cover two films each and every week. This week we have a delightful pair. I think you guys will love hearing about these reviews. The first film we're going to talk about is called Incident in a Ghostland, from director Pascal Laugier. Did I pronounce that right, Crystal? Because I'm pretty sure you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that sounds great to me. I'm like, yeah, sounds good. I'm like so not ready for this. I was like, what? Yeah.
It's the director that was previously behind Martyrs, among others.
Yes.
So yeah, this film is currently on Shudder. Yeah, he is very good. And we also have Itsy Bitsy from Micah Gallo. Now, this film is about. Dave, it's about giant spiders.
It is indeed.
That's like my worst nightmare.
Bitsy about it.
Yeah.
Oh well, maybe the final shot. That's
maybe.
Okay.
Spoilers. All right. Well, this movie is coming out on September 30th from Screen Factory, so we have an early review of that. So that's exciting, right?
Yay! Actually, yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into this. Up first is Incident in a Ghostland, like I said, from Pascal Laugier. We'll have however you pronounce his last name. Apologies to everybody involved. If you know, I'm going to dock it up. That's just all there is to it. The cast. Why is this happening? The cast includes Crystal Reed, Malene Farmer and Anastasia Phillips, among others. And like I said, it is available now on Shudder. It is about a mother who inherits a house and is confronted from murderous intruders, and her daughters fight for their lives. 16 years later, the daughters reunite, as the one who escaped is now a famous author. But is it all as it seems? Oh, no! Let's find out what our first impressions were. Crystal, start us off.
I loved this movie. I really loved this movie. I wasn't really sure what to expect going in, and crazy enough, it starts off almost immediately being a little weird and a little creepy, but didn't miss any of the story. You got and understood that this mother and her two children, the girls, were coming to an inherited home that's kind of, I guess, sort of in the middle of nowhere. You see a nice, creepy ice cream truck and its inhabitants making their welcome, I suppose, is what we should say. The cinematography on this is gorgeous. Like, I really loved it. I feel like every shot was well thought out. Every shot mattered. Every angle, every instance was really lovely. The performances were beyond good for me. I mean, even the villains or the baddies were a little over the top, and I think for reasons which I'm not going to say, but I think they were a little over the top, but even still it came off as authentic. The characters never made any moves that I felt were uncomfortable or out of character or didn't make sense. They didn't annoy me. They weren't stupid, which is one of my biggest pet peeves with that. The relationships were easy to understand. And I love Crystal Reed. I don't know if you ever, this is a little embarrassing, but I loved Teen Wolf. I don't know if you watched Teen Wolf. I loved Teen Wolf. I know, I watched the whole thing. And she was phenomenal. She played Allison as one of the main characters for the first several seasons there. And I just want to say a little bit more, but I don't want to give too much away, and I don't want to go much past first impressions because I feel like there's a lot to say about this. I suppose the main daughter is an aspiring horror writer, which, of course, that little girl has my little heart because here her sister is calling her a freak and I heard all that stuff when I was a kid. I mean, I heard from my siblings, what's wrong with you that you like that? What's, blah, 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 blah. So I've got all of those sorts of things. She has, anxiety. Like, I guess maybe I'm just seeing myself a little too much in that character, but I related to her, and the mother is sweet, and yeah. Even the daughter, the daughter, her idol is like H.P. Lovecraft, and so was mine. When I was younger. I mean, there's some things about him now that I recognize that bother me that didn't when I was a child because I didn't understand certain things. But yeah, it's all so, I feel like it's just such a well-written story, and I think it was delivered expertly, actually. Yeah.
It was indeed. I got to ask, though, since you relate to Beth so much, do you have the same reaction to all the crazy-ass dolls?
Oh, I love the dolls. I love dolls. Okay, I love dolls. But you know what it's so funny about it? When we were watching this, I was like, this is the crazy doll movie that I've always wanted to see. I love dolls. I love dolls. I know I've mentioned it, Doc, and I love doll movies, and I love puppets, and they're really weird and kind of creepy. And the doll in the Chinese, I guess you said Chinese mirror, is that, or Chinese puzzle box? Yep. Is that what it was?
Puzzle box mirror, yeah.
Was so creepy. And I'm like, it wasn't even about that doll, but I was like, that is fantastic. Yeah. I mean, it could basically serve as a creepy dolly movie too. I mean, actually a lot of the dolls were pretty crazy looking, and there's so much goodness. But the one scene, where they all kind of go bonkers, I was like, God, good. I think it plays into a lot of people's fears with dolls, which I don't really understand, but That's why I like it.
Yeah, oddly, it's a kind of a supporting theme between the two movies. But we'll get to that soon. Jeff, what is your first impression of Incident in a Ghostland?
I like this a lot, and I've been looking forward to seeing this. I hadn't watched it yet on Shudder, but I had heard a lot about it last year, and so was excited to watch it, and it did not disappoint me. I think it's one of those. It's a movie that's pretty well done all the way around. I like the acting. There's basically there's 5 main characters. There's the 2 girls, Beth and Vera, teenage versions and adult versions, and then there's the mother. And we have the candy truck woman and a character that's billed as Fat Man, who is
accurate,
played by a guy named Rob Archer, who's 6'6", 285 pounds, and I noticed he played Krampus in A Christmas Horror Story.
Oh,
a few years ago with the one with William Shatner. He's a monster, and then he had appliances on that made him even bigger and more horrific. And those villains are immediately scary and freaky. They're unpredictable. They're violent at the get-go. I mean, just they're violent right away. They could be calm and they're standing there talking, and next thing you know, you're getting slammed up against the wall and dragged down the stairs and whatnot. So I thought it was really good. There's something going on in the movie that I don't want to give away, but that's just really, really, really well done. And it all makes sense. And I like what Crystal said about the characters. They don't do stupid stuff.
Yeah, thankfully. Ugh.
There are times I'm trying to get Beth. I'm like, do something. But yet
it makes sense with her character, right? Yeah.
It does. She's the youngest one, probably the most easily intimidated. And anyway, and who knows how I would react in that situation, because holy crap, those two people were, oh my God. So anyway, I'll stop there, but I just loved it all the way around.
Yeah,
and the dolls, and the mirror puzzle,
and the dolls, and the mirror puzzle. Yeah, I would say that the fear is palpable. It's thick when it's happening.
Some of it's hard to look at, I thought.
Yeah. All right, well, we got to hear from Dave. Dave, what was your first impression of Incident in a Ghostland?
Well, I think everyone listening right now, everyone as you're listening to this, should pause this and go watch this goddamn movie right now.
Yes.
This one is a top 3 for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really like this one a lot. I even posted on Facebook as I was watching it that I'm only 10 minutes into this and I've already shit myself twice. So and it just keeps going. I mean, seriously, I think this is the first
messy movie. Yeah.
It is. It's the first movie since Haunting of Hill House that actually made me jump. We all remember the jump scare in Haunting of Hill House, right?
Oh,
and this has 2 of those moments in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and they both got me. So immediately had my respect. But it's far, far more than a jump scare movie, although they are effective when they do them. But it's a disturbing, violent, amazing film. It really, truly is. I don't know. If I say anything else, I'm going to ruin it. And this is supposed to just be first comments. So my first comments are: watch this movie now.
Watch this movie now. Watch it now. Okay, so now it's for me. Comments. Paul Cardulo, who handles a lot of the stuff that we do on our Patreon account. He does a weekly recommendation, and he recommended this. And we got a lot of responses where people were like, wow, what a great recommendation. This was far different and far more interesting and exciting than you would expect. There's some surprises in this film, and a number of them, and they get you in spectacular ways. So I was very curious about this, and I went in, and I was not disappointed. This movie, it's a top 10 for me. I was really awesome to hear, Dave, that you say it's a top 3. For me, it's a top 10. It would be hard to knock this one off for the top 10 of the year.
Oh, it's easily in the top 10. It's going to be hard to knock it out of the top 3 for me.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, it's so well made, and the acting is so on point and sharp. The dialogue is tying you in. The visuals are tying you in. There's clues, from beer bottles to habits to appearances to all kinds of things, and it's all there. And the way it ties together and unravels is quite remarkable. And even the unraveling is important, which happens a couple times, this unraveling that I'm speaking of. And I was sucked in, and it's a rewarding and thrilling experience. And yes, I cannot heap enough praise on this film. I loved it. I was so happy. I'm just going to stop there. I'm just going to leave it at that and invite everybody to start talking about it. It's going to be really hard to talk about this film without
giving it away. I know. That's what it's like. I want to try to, because it's such a major part of the movie. And honestly, it wasn't completely shocking to me. What's good is I think you find out about this about halfway through? Roughly,
about halfway through, right?
About halfway through. Yeah, and it wasn't shocking. It actually made sense to me. I was like, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to throw out there that we're going to do spoilers from here on. So if you have not seen Incident in a Ghostland at this point, take Dave's advice. Go watch it now. Come back and listen to the rest of this, because
come back.
Come back. Did you hear we said come back?
Yeah, please come back. Yeah, come back. But we definitely need to talk about. We can't talk about this movie without getting into the spoilers and the twist. Counting down 3, 2, 1. Now, you've got your warning. I'm hemming and hawing. If you're still listening, it's up to you. It's you.
Yourself to blame.
Yes. All right.
And now it's 90 minutes later after you watch the movie.
Yes. All right. When.
Okay, look. Basically, this movie is about living in your mind after abuse or trauma, severe abuse or trauma. It's about reverting into your mind and how someone who maybe is of that sort of nature can deal with trauma. And it's such a beautiful story in that way. I mean, isn't that I think the whole thing is such an amazing concept. I was like, of course her life was going to perfectly. I mean, let's be real. Her mom turned out to be this big badass who took these guys down. Yeah, it was a little far-fetched. And that's because it was a little far-fetched, But is that even what really happened? Or was it even more than that?
Oh, who knows? But the unraveling is so well done and so well paced. The house hasn't changed. Oh, she's suddenly drinking beer.
The mom hasn't changed.
Yeah, the mom hasn't aged. And the daughter's talking about people that are actually there when nobody sees them. And then you get that one scene where she's pulled down the hallway and you're wondering,
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, is this a supernatural film? What's going on?
Yep.
And the reveal is so awesome and so well done that I thought it was pulling the wool over my eyes with the reveal. Until I realized, no, that's
questioning the reveal, huh?
Yeah, I was like, oh man, she's so screwed now. She's she's warped now. Oh no, oh no, I get it. And we're told that she already does it, right? Because we get this bit of dialogue that she even recorded her own interviews saying that she was a famous actor. So we already have everything laid out, and it's such a brilliant script. I love this.
Yeah.
Agreed. And I think Crystal sort of hinted at it, and Doc does too, talking about how well it's done. There's these little hints, it allows you to start to guess, but you don't know, and that's what I think you meant, Doc, when you said how well paced it was, the reveal, because you're just going along. If there's a little bit of hesitation when the mom's a badass, because that's not what I expected to see when the door creaked open. And then all of a sudden it becomes apparent what's really going on. And I do like what you said too. It's about, I think both of these films have something to do with one form or another of PTSD. This one is she's hiding in her mind. The other one has a different path in Itsy Bitsy, but we can talk about that later. But, I can't put myself in the place of teenage girls, but it seemed very realistic to me and made them out to be real people, not necessarily victims. And they both reacted to that in different ways.
Can I throw something a little crazy out to you, though, too? Mm-hmm. Like, remember how I said, I feel like the monsters or the guys are a little over the top. Would you agree? Like, with the way that they are, they're not exactly of like a human type nature. It's not really all that natural, themselves. And at the end, I mean, I'm just throwing this out there as a total, like, you can decide what you believe about this movie. But when Beth says, he says, do you play sports? And Beth says, I like to write stories. And she kind of smiles at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that it could be just one of her stories?
Like a story inside of a story inside of a story?
Yeah. That's because I was thinking the monsters are a little over the top, but if you look, they really are not exactly like a gnat. I mean, they're a little much. They're way out there. And I think from a teenager's perspective, they would be. I mean, I'm just saying, it's like something that could be.
They're kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre out there.
Yeah.
That family. But, with the scene you're talking about, I was wondering about the EMT because he seemed just a little too friendly.
Yeah. Well,
I was thinking it was going to turn into the candy truck.
Well, and see,
man,
that's another thing too. It's like, okay, they got saved. And I agree. He seemed a little too nice, a little too, and I'm like, well, is this even real? Is she still in her head? Even, is she living out another release, another, saving, as it were, like the mom saved her the first time and then these paramedics are saving her this time and she's just reverting back into her mind. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's so many ways you could go with the end. I think the ending was a little open, and I think it was meant to be. I think it was meant to be more than what it really is. I don't think it was cut or dry. And I mean, I think with the movie that, God, I think it was usually that stuff just irks me, but I think with this movie, it was the perfect ending. It made complete sense because it's like, well, fuck. Excuse me, it's like, I guess, maybe. I was like, damn it. I was like, what if, because it's so much craziness. I haven't seen a movie that kind of made me think this much in a long time. And honestly, I could not take my eyes off the screen. I was like, yeah, what's next? Yeah. Because a lot of it was disturbing and some of the subject matter is, yuck.
Well, and it helps that the actresses really breathe the same life into the characters. The older adult Beth and the younger Beth, they feel like the same character, even though, they're ages apart, right? 16 years apart. And same for Vera. And so much so that I wasn't sure it was different. I was questioning myself, like, is that the same one before or something? Yeah, it's so well done, from an acting standpoint, from a casting standpoint and writing. It is remarkable. Dave, you're awful quiet. Do you want to chime in?
I'm just agreeing with everything you got to say. It's like, oh my God, they're reading my mind. Yeah, I mean, I think we're all in tune on this one. We all seen and recognize and are acknowledging the same things that this one brought. One thing we haven't really talked about too much, though, is the scares. I mean, there were some major league scares in this. Like I alluded to it a little bit there at the beginning when she first finds that puzzle mirror thing and that fucking giant ass doll with the glowing eyes pops out.
Yeah, that's
like,
great.
Holy shit!
Oh, with that great laugh.
Yeah. I could not help thinking of our dearly departed Santos Ellen Jr. because he would have locked himself in a room and not come out for 3 days after seeing this movie.
I think you're right.
Yes. I mean that was scary. And then not long after that scene, we get the scene where she's standing out in the hallway and that scary ass huge fucker is running down the hallway at her at 900 miles an hour. Yep. And I was like, I said, I'm turning this goddamn thing off. I cannot sit here. And
it's hard to watch, isn't it? Some of it's hard to watch.
Yeah, it really was.
I mean, it is hard to watch. It's like, ooh. Oh, wow. But...
And then even later when we get to the end and we have she's all dressed up in the doll outfit and he comes in and he's holding her. Yeah, he's holding her by her leg and tossing her around. And I'm just like, oh my God, somebody had to get killed making this thing. But it's incredibly effective. As you've all said, you can't take your eyes off it. You really can't. And then the layers, I mean, I think this is one we could watch 2, 3, maybe even 4 times and still discover things that we've missed.
And something about it. I know a lot of people don't like or violence but I don't feel like, okay, I'm not the best judge of this, admittedly, but I don't feel like any of this was gratuitous. I think it all made sense to the story. I didn't feel like it was over the top, and I hope that most people see it that way. I mean, but violence is kind of a thing for me, but like I think it was just all very appropriate with being completely inappropriate as well.
Well, this director is known for pushing those boundaries. I mean,
Martyrs
if you've seen Martyrs, Martyrs is like, oh my God, that movie messed me up. Halfway through that movie, I was like, oh no, that's not what's happening. So he has a talent for that kind of rug pulling twist, and this one.
But it didn't seem gratuitous. I mean that's what I'm saying. I just didn't.
In this case, it was the point, right? It was what what the theme was how she was handling this, very horrible event in her life. Whether it actually played out as graphic as we get to see or not, which is a great observation, Crystal. But it's still violent enough to make her regress, right? So, and I love the way her sister handled that. Was amazing.
Yeah. It's
and you gotta love the H.P. Lovecraft cameo.
Okay, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. I was wanting to make sure we did that.
Okay. But the makeup was not the best on that. That's my only.
You could tell it was him. I mean, you could tell what they were going for.
Of course, absolutely. That was that was literally the only thing I have to say about the movie that I was like, eh.
But in context of what was happening, it didn't matter, right? It
didn't. You're right.
Right, because by the time we're in that, we know where she's at. So it was fine. But it was really awesome because she got this affirmation that she was striving for in her mind.
Yes, from her hero.
Yeah, that was great.
It was good and a bit unexpected, I have to say.
Yeah. Oh God, and actually, it kind of gets at my heart. The poor girls, you really think, of course it makes sense for someone to do that. Wouldn't that be so much easier? Just, stay in that sweet little perfect world. But the conversation too after that with her mother, don't listen to her. And she's like, no, got to do it. Got to be tough. Got to man up,
But that comes around too, because what the mother's really saying is don't listen to her until you're ready.
Yep.
To really hear it, right? So yeah, the one Vera goes into a how can I get along in this environment, and as opposed to Beth sort of checking out into her fantasy world. It was
all good. It was all good.
It was all good.
Well, with that, let's wrap it up and give our final thoughts, our score, and favorite scene for Incident in Ghostland. Crystal, you start us off.
So I completely agree with Dave that this is a must watch. Must watch for any horror lover. I think it has the psychological covered. I think it has the gruesome covered. It's not the goriest, but it's definitely gonna mess with your mind. And if it doesn't, well, perhaps we should talk. No,
perhaps we should.
But I'm gonna give this a 4.5. Yeah, and that's really high for me. So it's definitely
That is.
Yeah, it is. It's right up there. Yeah, for me. And there's several scenes that I really, really like, but I'm going to go with the first scene that really struck me though. And it's good. We're going to go with smelling the blood.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know if we were going to mention that. Oh.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, that's fun. You got a good nose, huh? That's good. Yeah, that one got me.
He's not creepy at all. All right.
So I guess that affected y'all too.
Yeah. Just toss it aside. All right. Jeff Mohr, what is your final thoughts, your score, favorite scene, Incident in a Ghostland?
I'm going to, final thoughts. I will just get this out of the way. I had a 4.5 as well. I think this might be, in terms of this podcast, I think this is the best movie I've seen this year. I'd have to go back through the list and double check, but that's the one that really hits me. Velocipaster notwithstanding. But in favorite scene, I don't want to take something that Dave might do. I'm going to say when Fat Man grabs the two girls and takes them downstairs. I was just cringing the entire time as he's slamming them up against. Yeah, he's got him by the hair. He's slamming them against the wall as he goes. It's just like literally they're
like
rag
they're dolls,
which fits right into the whole motif.
That
bouncing down the stairs and anyway. And if Dave doesn't take the one, I'm leaving him.
You're gonna come back and take another.
I think I'm going a different route here. I think I'm going a different route.
Take the mic. What is your final thoughts? Your score, favorite scene?
Final thoughts. Obviously, love this movie. It was kind of a surprise. I really didn't know anything about it until you told me we were going to watch it, Doc. So I'm glad it got sent my way. I'm going to give it a 4.75.
Wow.
I'm not giving it the coveted 5 because I'm not sure. It's a little too early in the year to say it's the best film. But like I said, it's definitely top 3. My favorite scene is kind of a weird one, but I even texted it to you, Doc, as I was watching it. But in that scene when they're the girls are adults and they've lured the sister out of her basement cage or whatever, and she's in that room getting tossed around by something at that point we don't know. It's a ghost or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yes. And she's trying desperately to get into her, and you hear everything stop, and then you just hear that creepy voice go, "Broke your sister." Oh man, that was just fucked up. I was like, all right. And I just the way the whole thing was shot, because you don't really see what's going on. You don't really know what's going on. And I took it as we broke your sister, not as in we broke her spirit, but we killed. Yeah. She's in pieces now. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, how creepy would that be to hear from behind a closed door?
Oh my God. Yeah, right.
So it was very effective for me. So I really enjoyed that. But there was a wealth of exceptional scenes in this movie.
There is.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this one's a keeper.
This one's a keeper. I love that. All right. Yeah. Last year we did our inaugural, best of the year awards, right? This one is going to be placed in quite a few of those categories, from acting to director, most likely to film even. That's what I think of this film. There's a lot to remember. It will stick with you. It'll make you think. You'll want to watch it again. I do.
Agreed. Yeah.
The acting is fantastic. It's got a great script. The direction is. this might be his best film. I'm trying to think. I think I've seen most of his films, and I think this is his best one. I really do.
I think it's a good balance. Very balanced.
Well, it's like I said, it's well paced, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give it a 4.5 as well. Like I said, it's in my top 10. I doubt if it's going to get knocked out. I would have to be an incredibly latter half of the year, incredibly strong. Which might be. It might be. Yeah. But yeah, Jeff, this might be the best one we've seen this year. We're going to have to go take a peek at our at the catalog, what we've seen. Favorite scene? I'm surprised that what you took, Dave, because you almost took my favorite scene.
Yep.
My favorite scene's immediately after that when the door opens.
Right.
And it's like, what's going on? Because she's getting thrown around the hallway, right at the top of the steps. And then her fingers.
Yes.
Oh my God. And you've got everybody watching, right? And they're all gasping. And I'm just like going, what's going on?
I know. I knew someone was going to take that scene. That's why I didn't. Because I was like, it's so creepy. I was like, that's so good.
But there's so much more. I mean, the whole thing, anything to dealing with the Chinese mirror could be in there. And when she's dressed up with the doll, that whole scene was so tense. Yeah. And when she's trying to sneak out so slowly, it's like, get up and run, girl. Like, don't just
get the hell out of there. I like too when she goes back into that Chinese closet and that doll keeps laughing and she's trying to keep it quiet.
Oh my God.
That was a great scene too.
I really, the only disappointment with this film is that I didn't get to see it in a theater.
I bet it would have been excellent.
I would have pooped my pants in the theater. This movie is, man, somebody missed it. Somebody didn't gauge this movie right. It should have made it. Oh, man. All right. Well, I think we've heaped a lot of praise on this. It is now available on Shudder, so go check it out. Up next is a film that I'm excited to talk about, and I just want to clarify something that I made a mistake earlier on the show. It's not September 30th, it's August 30th that this film is coming out from Scream Factory, so apologies for that if everybody was scratching their head earlier. But this is from director Micah Gallo. It is a giant spider movie with a cast that includes Bruce Davison, Elizabeth Roberts, and Denise Crosby. Oh, some happy faces I was glad to see. It is, like I said, coming in theaters and on demand August 30th. Dave, sir, I want you to start us off. What is your first thoughts?
Well, Itsy Bitsy's just an Itsy Bitsy to... what's the word I'm looking for?
What is the word you're looking for?
I mean, I loved the spider pieces. Those were all good, but we just get a lot of babbling. We get a lot of backstory. We get a lot of native people dancing around, and I mean, but it just goes on forever. I mean, it's, I don't know. I really wanted to like super love this movie, and I just ended up kind of liking it, which I guess in and of itself isn't horrible. But after watching, I shouldn't have watched Incident in a Ghostland first. That was the biggest thing.
Maybe.
Yeah, it gets a little. It kind of suffered from, when you see something that exceptional and then you see something like this is just kind of mediocre. I don't know. I wanted more from it. But once we get to the spider, which takes us, this is a 90-minute movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, we probably take the better part of 60 of those minutes just setting up all this backstory and all that stuff, and then when we finally get the spider goodness, it's pretty okay. I particularly like the demise of the Bruce Davison character. I thought that was pretty good.
Yes,
but all in all,
spoilers.
It's just sorry, spoilers.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, hey, the spider killed people. What do you think it's going to do?
Somebody got to go. Somebody got to go. Casting's that big.
But yeah, overall, it's just kind of a meh for me.
Kind of a meh.
A little meh.
All right. Jeff Mohr, you're up next. What was your first impression of Itsy Bitsy?
Well, I like this a lot more than Dave did. I think so. But I'm struggling a little bit, and I think it is probably going to suffer a little bit in the score in comparison with Incident in a Ghostland. But I like this quite a bit. What is there? 5 main characters that take up most of the screen time. You got Bruce Davison.
If you count Crosby, the sheriff,
Denise Crosby plays the sheriff. Elizabeth Roberts is the mother, and then the 2 kids. And I was engaged the entire time. I loved the spiders. I really liked the mother's story. I thought that she acted the way somebody would act. That was, in her own way, it was a PTSD. And her resort was to, she'd been in a car accident. This is revealed fairly quickly. She'd been in a car accident and her youngest son died, or middle son. I don't know exactly. where that fit. And she apparently had a lot of guilt and hadn't been able to get over that. And in the meantime had developed an addiction to painkillers, assuming opioids. I never did quite
I think it was OxyContin.
Yeah, Oxycontin.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
She tries to steal it out of the medicine cabinet of that guy she's taking care of.
Right. And so, and from my experience, she acted pretty much the way addicts act. You know, you think, how can a mother do that? She wasn't really taking good care of her kids. She was leaving her kids to fend for themselves in sort of the guest house, literally from breakfast till bedtime. And you're thinking, man, what a horrible mother. But when you're in the throes of addiction, that's the primary focus. So I think maybe that's the reason that I enjoyed it the most, is I thought it was a fairly real depiction of the kind of justification, rationalization, blaming, all that stuff that they go through. And I thought she did a great job at that. Love the spiders. Love, since Dave already gave it away, love Bruce Davison's demise.
Yes.
I love the spiders. I thought the spiders were cool. And I kind of like I don't know, Dave. I didn't think, literally the dancing tribesmen, that was like in the pre-credits scene. That was over pretty quick.
Well,
there was some backstory later on.
I was saying we revisit them.
There was
a little bit later on.
Let me tell you the story about this egg. Oh, God, 20 minutes later.
See, I didn't get that at all. I was totally into it. I liked the pacing. I don't know if you guys stuck with it or not, but there's a really lame stinger at the end of the credits.
Oh, I missed it. No,
I didn't see it.
Yeah, you didn't really need to see it.
Oh, was it the little spiders?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw.
I did. I seen that. I seen the little spiders in the dollhouse.
Well, yeah, but no, that two guys come in to move.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Okay.
So
missed that.
They go over and open up the trunk, and
But it would have been great if it was Jeff Daniels from Arachnophobia. That would have been
yes. It wasn't Cliff. It wasn't John Ratzenberger either. Anyway,
John Goodman, right?
Or John Goodman, yeah.
Yeah.
What am I mixing that up with?
I don't know, but that's awesome, Mike.
Wasn't either one of them. But I enjoyed this.
Let's find out what Crystal thought. What was your first impression of Itsy Bitsy?
Okay.
That smells bad.
Posturing.
I totally am. No. Okay. So I have a major fear of spiders. Like, I don't fear a lot of things, but spiders, oh my God, I could see the tiniest one and I'm paralyzed practically with fear. It's ridiculous. So I was kind of excited to watch this. I was like, oh, yes. And the spider, I kind of agree with both camps, but I feel like my biggest issue is there is just too much going on with this movie. There's this native indigenous people taking the spider. There's his wife that got quote unquote killed by them or something, and then there is this addicted mom, and then there's the spider as well. And really, I just wanted to watch a spider movie. I guess I think it just added a lot of story. The pieces,
exposition.
Yeah, the pieces were done well, though. I have to agree with Jeff. I think she displayed all the symptoms of an addicted mother. She played it well, and that was done well. I just kind of wish it wasn't. I just feel like it was unnecessary. I think her addictive nature was really irrelevant to the story. I think if they had cut back on some of that, I don't know, and more spider, less people. Honestly,
more spider. What's more spider in that spider movie?
Like, and there was one actually. It was the birth of this. When the spider comes out of its eggshell, whatever. I was like, I loved it, and actually at one moment I was like, I just wish someone would be there saying, "It's alive, alive." I was dying to hear that at that moment. I was like, that'd be, but that's just for myself. But the sound mixing at portions was actually really horrible in this movie as well. So there were some moments where I had to actually turn the volume down and turn it back up.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I did the same thing because I was watching it down in my movie room, and every time there was something exciting going on, my wife would be, turn that down! And so I turn it down, and then they start talking, and you get... So you turn it back up again, and then something exciting happens, and it's, will you turn that down? And it's like, what? Did somebody not know how to mix sound on this thing?
Yeah.
We might be a victim of the digital screeners that we get.
Oh, that's fair, too. That could be. It could be that. That'd be helpful for the movie. But like I said, there's good portions of it. I just wish it wasn't all in one movie. It's just a lot. And I guess maybe this movie, to me, it felt like it should just be more of a creature Spidey movie, and that would be so awesome. You
were looking for a big ass spider.
Yeah, I really was. Like I was like, yeah. And I mean, there were some moments where I'm not kidding. Spiders creep. I mean, that's how you get to me. I was like, you want to get to me? Oh, bring it. I will punch you. You put a spider in my face, I will punch you. I will punch you.
I'm duly warned.
Yeah.
Note to self, bring spiders when we meet.
I know. I'm like,
but be ready to duck.
Yeah, I'm like, no. And I was like, I think that's just instinct on my part. You know, I'm like, nope. But yeah, like I said, the pieces were well done. You know, I mean, I hate to. It's a tough one. It's a tough call. I liked it. I definitely liked it. I didn't love it. So
say it. It's meh. Say it.
Don't say it. Yeah, I think I liked it a little. I think I liked it more than Dave, but maybe less than Jeff. I think I might be in between because like I said, I totally get where Jeff's too. You know, it's like, yeah, she looked like an addict. The faces she made and stuff. She's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm more in Jeff's camp because I kind of dug this movie, but I do agree this film has an identity problem.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't know if it wants to be the drama of it or it wants to be the creature feature of it. And the drama that they picked didn't mix well with the creature feature that they were achieving, you know, for the latter half. It's not an easy blend. Having said that, along the way, there's a lot of goodness. There's a lot of really good little nuggets in here. Bruce Davison is fantastic in this. I love his character, and I love how he reacts to each of the other characters in here. Each person he acts a little bit differently, and there's a reason why, and I love it. I love his interaction with the son.
Me too. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And the way he kind of takes him under his wing a little bit, and instead of scolding him, because spoilers, the boy steals one of these little things, but then he, because of his sister's writing him, he takes it back the next day, and he could have been the dick he was with other people, but no, he fosters them, and I love that, and I love that his concern that when that scene ended. When the mom came in, it's subtle, but it's a great performance by him. And of course, his demise, as we've all said, is probably a highlight of the film. Yeah, but his character is great, and I love the child actor. I thought he was fantastic.
Didn't he have good hair? Oh my gosh, great hair.
So it's Armand Darboux plays Jesse. So and I thought Chloe Perrin, who plays his sister, is fantastic as well, and together they are great. There's a scene in the attic when the two of them, when she's trapped and he's like trying to free her, and the mom discovers them, that it's just really well done. Everything about that scene is really well done. So now the problem is that we get a little bit too much time with Kara Elizabeth Roberts at the mom.
Yeah,
and that doesn't feel to be as much of a part of the movie as I think they intended. Even though the scene at the diner, which also has Eileen, is it Dietz or Detz? Dietz. As the waitress there.
A little cameo.
Yeah. That scene when she gets scared by the kid banging on the window, right, is really well done. And the dialogue between her and Denise Crosby as sheriff is well done as well. But other than introducing the sheriff and the two characters together, it goes on longer than it should for what it's trying to do, I thought. And I think this film does that a couple times. I think Dave brought it up with the backstory. The exposition gets a little heavy-handed, a little more than we really care about.
I cared about it.
I cared about it, but it kind of bored me. It got a little too much. I thought that it just it was fine that it was there, but it needed to be a little bit more, a little more economy. It needed to be a little more efficient. But having said that, again, I think the things that work, especially like the last 30 minutes or 40 minutes, is really wins this film over. The fact that, and I'm going to spoil a little bit, that the spider actually bites through the hand of the little girl.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, ah! And the way she, they whack it, and it's, that whole scene just like, no. And what's happening to the mom there at the same time, and the way she's reacting, and she knows what she's in for, is it's really tense and well done. I really enjoyed it. Now, getting there is, if you talk about the first 30 minutes of it, I'm with Dave. Let's talk about the actual spider, and let's talk about the actual conflict, because the spider takes up residence not in the house where it gets freed, but in the guest house that our family's living in, and in the attic. I'm just going to start off with this and let you guys take over, but I love the way they use the molting.
As God,
yeah. It was really well done.
No. Oh my God, watching it was a nightmare. I was like, no, it's not. Is it molting? I was like, is it molting? I was like, no. I was like, I hate you, movie. But I like being scared. I love being scared. So see, those moments, the spider moments, really did get to me. I mean, so obviously, no, the spider doesn't act like a normal spider. It didn't create its web and have people come into it. It's a hunter. So I can get behind that too. That's super spooky to me. I'm like, no, I don't like it.
Oh, and it's a leaper.
No.
Anytime it came down from the ceiling, I was like, Like
No.
It does it twice, right? It does it on Bruce Davison, and later it does it with Elizabeth Roberts, and it just comes down. It just this was in 3D. I'd be pooping my pants.
No.
So Dave,
unacceptable.
You're unacceptable. Dave, you're the FX guy here. So does the spider live up to an effective special effect?
I think it does. Yeah, the spider effects are good, which is part of the problem with the movie, because we wanted more spider, like
we did,
like Crystal was saying,
Yep.
because the beastie looked pretty good. There was even some good like shadowy type of stuff that they were playing with a little bit that I thought was really effective. It was more camera trick than actual seeing the monster, but it worked. It was effective. So there was things to like in this. It's just they just kind of got too tied up in their backstory and that type of stuff to remember it was a spider movie. You mentioned the biting through the hand, which was great, and the spider's demise at the end is fantastic, and even the way that after they were bit, the
poison,
the bites, the bite would out that snotty shit. That was all really great. So unfortunately, in that 90-minute movie, there's probably 7 minutes of that. So just needed more of that. But I think all in all, if we were going to rate it just on its spider effects, it's a good one.
Yeah. Now, most of it's practical. I'm sure there's some CGI in there, but Dave, did I see some stop motion in there?
I was going to ask you that. I was going to bring that up. Or was it animation even?
Wait, what?
There's a scene when it crawls across the floor that it felt like it was.
It looked like I'm like, is that animation? It almost looked animated. I did. I was going animation and not so much stop motion, but there was something going on there. But it was a shadowy scene, right, Doc?
Yeah, it was coming toward the camera. It was walking toward the camera, but
it didn't look quite right. Yeah, something was off.
I loved it though.
It wasn't CGI.
I don't think so.
But there was something going on there. They tried something I'm not sure what it was, but
I'd be curious if they'll reach out to us and let us know what they did.
What the hell was it?
Yeah. But special effects wise, the special effects on Bruce Davidson's foot after he gets bit made my
very
leg
good.
Hurt. Made my leg hurt. I was like, oh no.
That sucks.
Well, it made me think how that spider was like sucking on his foot
I
all night long.
No.
It was like half liquefied. You know?
Ew. Wow. Oh, Jeff.
You made it worse.
You mean better, right?
Well, yeah, I mean better, but by making it worse.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I don't think no EpiPen's fixing that one. That one's a little more than the EpiPen.
So I think some of the reasoning behind all of the character development and story is because there aren't really that many characters in this movie. And so maybe, you can't kill everyone. Well, I guess you could. I mean,
they would have had to change the story a lot if they took let's say they take the addiction out of the mother's character, because that explained why she was so absent and was really not being a good mother.
But really, if she cared and valued her job, she might be like that too as well. She's just, no, I mean, there would be ways around it, but I guess
yeah.
It helped that she was a really good actress.
It fit for me, and then that gave the explanation of how the kids could be, they're getting stalked by this thing, and there's no really adult there to catch what's going on.
I was going to say that the scene with her and the son when he brings up the deceased boy, and her reaction, and then the reaction to the reaction, I thought that was brilliant, really well done.
I maybe for me it's just so hard to watch that because I'm like, it's like a buzzkill for the movie for me. That's really I think what a part of it is because that's so emotional for me, and I'm like, she is such a piece of poop. Like, I was just disgusted by her.
Shapoop. What's shapoop? I don't know what shapoop is. Somebody explain to me what shapoop is.
and I think really that hits me so emotionally because I'm like, there should be nothing more important to her than her children. Right, and I think oddly enough, that's really the case. And that's why she is the way that she is, because she lost one and can't handle it. I mean, so it's kind of an interesting, sad, and odd story. But I think spiders are my Bigfoot. Dave is Bigfoot. I'm like, spiders are it for me. And I think I was like, oh God, this is a buzzkill because it makes me a little too emotional. I think I'm like, damn, you're horrible.
Right,
you just die.
Because the emotional weight between a giant spider movie and a woman dealing with addiction is so diverse.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And not very compatible, but
that seems like it would be a better fit for, Incident in a Ghostland. I could totally handle it there. That's accepted. It's like that emotional weight there makes sense. But yeah, I was like, oh man, these poor kids. And it forced the older boy to practically grow up and be a man. And what a great kid. I mean, of course you look at him, you're like, God, he's doing such a good job raising his sister. Yeah, see, that just puts in too much stuff for me. That just piling emotions for me. And sometimes I just don't like to feel. I like to not feel. Not feeling is good.
All right. Well, on that note, let's wrap things up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score, and favorite scene for Itsy Bitsy. Dave, start us off.
I was looking for big ass spider and I got long ass story. It just wasn't what I was looking for. And that has nothing to do with how, the quality of the filmmaking or the quality of the writing or the quality of the acting. It just, I was looking for a creature feature and I've got a dramatic movie with a little bit of creature in it. And it kind of tuned me out a little bit. This might be one that I revisit somewhere down the road and maybe like it a little more because I was really primed for a really good giant spider movie. And that's not what this was. I'm going to give it a 2.5. It's okay. Like I said, it's just meh. It's nothing fantastic. Favorite scene? I'm going to have to go with Bruce Davison's demise.
Steal it right out of the game.
Yeah. Since I get to go first, I'm going to take that one. But that, by far, I think is probably the best scene all around with acting and the suspense and the special effects. It all comes together very nicely there.
And the spider coming down from the ceiling. Oh,
yes, very, very cool. So, all in all, I'm glad I watched it. But yeah, just be careful going into it. It's not what you think it is.
But is it?
But not in a good
way. Jeff, sir, what is your final thoughts, your score, favorite scene for Itsy Bitsy?
So, as a matter of fact, I had the same idea that Dave did. This was not what I expected, but I was pleasantly surprised and a little bit impressed by this movie. It's possible that those, the different factors don't really fit well generally, but I didn't have a problem with it. So I would recommend people check this out. There's a lot of tense scenes, a lot of disturbing scenes, hard to watch scenes, especially if you're like Crystal and you got a thing about spiders. By the way, Crystal, I got 3 words for you: giant spider invasion.
Oh, okay. I'm going to watch that for sure.
I'm like curious spider.
So anyway, I'm going to give this a 3.5.
Nice.
And I'm picking a scene somebody else already talked about, but I already wrote it down, and I'm going first. So that where everybody's up in the attic.
Woo!
And I'll pick a very specific part where all through the scene they're watching. There's this spider up in the corner, and they're all keeping an eye on it. And towards the end of the scene, the camera pans back, and you get a bigger picture of the spider. And that was like, I was like, oh my God, run! Anyway, I like that.
I did too. That was awesome. All right, Crystal, what is your final thoughts, your score, favorite scene for Itsy Bitsy?
So I was right. I'm pretty much right in between them. I think I'll just give my score first. I give it a 3. I liked it. I just didn't love it. I think it's worth a watch for sure. I mean, there's not very many good spider movies out there, and I like the effects and I like the little scares, and just be prepared that you're going to have, some other stuff to be watching along the way. It's nice. I mean, I could take it. Like I said, I would have preferred, but didn't hate, I mean, And honestly, there were a lot of good scenes in this. Pretty much every scene with the spider or spiders was really good. But I was going to say the opening cocoon, but really what I'm going to go with is I think it's shortly after the spider birth, and it's an overhead scene in the bathroom.
Oh,
and the mom is in the bathroom and the spider is in the tub. Ruined me. I was like, oh God, it's like right there. It's just right there, just sitting there, just waiting to get her. Oh God. I don't know. That got me. I loved it. Mm-hmm. So.
That's not where you want to find spiders. All right. I enjoyed this movie a bit more than most, but not as much as Jeff. I'm giving it 3.25. I agree with Dave that some of the exposition kind of slogs it down a little bit. It's a little heavy-handed. However, the acting for those scenes is fantastic. I love all 5 of our leads. I think they're all fantastic, and it was great to see Bruce Davison actually get more than just a cameo in a film.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a day player in a lot of films, but here he's in this film. And I was thinking Denise Crosby was going to be a day player at first, but no, she ends up being a bigger part of it as well. And I liked her as well. I loved when she talked to the son. And,
the hug.
Like, the hug and her reaction to it.
Oh, I know.
But the fact that she didn't disbelieve his story, and she said, "What I want you to do is when you find proof, come find me, and I'll be there." And that's exactly what happens. And I love that. Armand Darbo is fantastic as the son, and yes, he has great hair. But the daughter's fantastic too, and she wins my favorite scene. Her battle with the spider was remarkably well done, and her reaction to it, and the fact that it bit her, and then the two kids end up smacking that spider down, and the way it lied on the floor, and I knew that spider's not dead. he's out of it, but he ain't dead. Double tap him.
Double tap. Oh my God.
So yeah, I love that stuff. And because how is she going to get bit and not get the poison? Well, because the fangs go right through her little hand. Oh
yeah.
Oh, what a champ she was too, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it won me over with the last half of the film. Let's put it that way. It really did. It really did. So
I want to thank Dave for making sure I wasn't the highest score on both movies this time.
Oh, nice. Is that the pattern that we have? All right. Well, these movies were made for you, I think, especially Incident.
Yeah, they were good.
All right. We covered 2 films tonight, Incident in a Ghostland and Itsy Bitsy. I hope you get a chance to catch either or both of them. Incident in a Ghostland is available now on Shudder. Go see it now because we know you have Shudder. So there's no reason not to. Itsy Bitsy is in select theaters and on demand August 30th from Screen Factory, another place that we love. How many Screen Factory Blu-rays do you have there, Dave?
Oh, all of them.
All of them. Too many to count.
Yeah.
Too many to count. All right. So yeah, check these 2 out and let us know what you think. Feedback is at I felt like I repeated myself. GruesomeMagazine.com. If you want to, you can join our Facebook group or you go to GruesomeMagazine.com and leave a comment on the show notes. Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
All right. Whew, we talked a lot tonight, so we went a little over. But Crystal, Jeff, Dave, I want to thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Love being here.
Thank you.
And with that, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Gruesome Magazine.